chest. This is an account that is insured, guaranteed, tax-free, creditor-proof, and probate-free. So let me briefly explain that. So forget about, you've gone through the GPS process. You are at step number 9. You've got your emergency fund in place. You're completely debt-free. You've got your insurances in place. Now you've got 15% of your income, and you are ready to go, okay? And you say, okay, I've heard him, but, I don't want to, I want a second opinion. So you go to your banker, okay, your friendly banker, call up your investment advisor, your banker, and you say, look, I want an appointment. I've got, let's say I'm going to use a number here. I've got $2,000 available to me, or $1,000 available to me every month, disposable. I'd like to invest it, and this is what I want to do. Let's just use $1,000, okay. You go to the banker, you make the appointment, and you sit down with him, and you sit across him, and you say, look, okay, Mr. Banker, this is what I want you to do, okay. I've got $1,000 available to me every month, okay. I've cleaned up all my debts. I've insured it optimally. I've got a 6-month emergency fund, but I still got $1,000 available, and I want to put it to good use before I abuse it, or before I misuse it, okay? Before it just disappears into thin air. So tell him this: I want you to open a savings account for me, okay? And there are 6 conditions that must be fulfilled before you'll get my business, right? First condition is this: I'm going to use somebody in their 30s. Okay, I'm going to use an example of let's say I'm a 39-year-old in your 30s. 39 is as high as you can go, or even 40s. Let's use 40 in the 40s, so it's about halfway. So I'm 49 years old, and I'm doing this. I go to the banker, and I say, okay, fine, I've got $1,000 available, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to open an account, and every month I'm going to dump in $1,000. Okay? And first condition is this: I'm 49 years old. The Bible says I'm going to live till age 70, and the insurance companies say the average Canadian lifespan is 85. So either way, I'm going to live quite a bit, okay? But I might die before then, right? So if I die either before 70 or before 85, or even I live beyond, at any point in time when I die, you have to pay my beneficiaries not only what I've got in there, right? But you have to top it up to $1 million. That's condition number 1. So example, if today is July the 14th, we start this August the 1st. August the 1st, I give him the first $1,000, and I die September the 1st after 1 month. There's only $1,000 in my account. He has to top it up to $1 million, okay? If I live till age, whatever, I'm 49, so let's say I'm going to use 10 years. So if 10 years, I've put in $12,000, right? And I die after 10 years, I'm 59 years old. He still has to pay my family not only the $10,000, what did I say, $12,000 to $120,000, okay? So if at the end of 10 years I die, he cannot just pay my family $120,000 plus interest, of course. He has to top it up, always has to top it up to $1 million. That's condition number 1. That's what I mean by insured, okay? It's insured to up to $1 million, right? Because I'm using a $1,000 figure, I'm going to bump it up to $1 million, because if you're 49 years old, that's what it costs, a term to 100 policy, okay? $1,000 a month, you get $1 million, right? That's condition number 1. Condition number 2, I need 2 guarantees, okay? Number 1, I need you to guarantee the death benefit, okay? That, you will pay that. I want it black and white contractually, sign, you all pledge all your assets towards it. And typically when you have a contract, that's what you have, okay? It's guaranteed. That's the first guarantee. The second guarantee is I want a 3.25 return on my monies. Ask him, how much are you paying on your interest savings account right now? Now, if you go to most banks today, what do you get? Less than 1%? And then if you tell them, oh, I'm putting $1,000 a month, they become very generous. Okay, we'll give you 1.2. Big deal. Right? Like inflation is running at 2 to 3%. It doesn't even keep up with inflation. Nonetheless, tell him, no, that's not going to do. Okay, I want 3.2% guaranteed contractually, black and white forever. Okay, condition number 2. Two returns of guarantee. Number 3, tell him, look, the death benefit, whenever it's paid out, and as far as I know, I'm going to die. Okay, that's a given. I know I'm going to die unless the Lord comes back, because I'm a believer. Everything is academic. But if that doesn't happen in my lifetime, I'm going to die a physical death. And when I die, okay, I want you to pay that $1 million tax-free. There must not be any tax on it. Second, on my earnings that I'm earning 3.25%, I don't want a T5 every year at the end of the year. I pay too much taxes as it is. Okay? I don't need another T5 coming in asking me to pay interest on that money. Right? So both the return on the death benefit and on the investment portion, 3.25% guaranteed, must be tax-free. Right? Third is, I want this money. This is a war chest. Okay? War chest meaning to say nothing can penetrate. Okay? Nothing can get through this. I want this to be creditor-proof. Now, most of you are thinking, that's not relevant to me. I don't have much credit, and especially me in this position. I'm 49 years old. I've done the first 8 steps. I'm in step number 9. I have no creditors. Okay, it's not relevant to me. Is that true? No. Let me prove it to you. You remember I talked about the specialist physicians making more than $400,000. Okay, most of these specialist physicians, when they make $400,000, they are in their 30s. Okay. By the time they get out of med school and they have all this specialized training to do and whatnot, they are ready to go by the time they're 35, okay? Depending on the specialty, right? Some of them would have taken a break in between and whatnot, but let's say 35, okay? All of you drive automobiles, right? And how much liability do you carry on your automobile policy? $1 million? How many carry $2 million on your liability? None. Most people buy, it's an expense, myself included. I'm trying to cut costs down, right? Unless you are informed, you might take $2 million liability. It's available if you ask for it, okay? But that's not the point. Whether it's $1 million or $2 million, and most people carry $1 million. If I hit one of these specialist physicians, mid-30s, I maim him for life, right? Guess what's going to happen? His high-priced lawyer, okay, is going to make the case that his specialist physician could have earned at least $12 million by the time he was 65, or $25 million. It's going to make a very strong case for that, okay? And based on that, he's going to sue everybody. You follow? Your insurance company, you personally, yeah, they'll just, machine gun, just shoot everybody and see who they can kill, who they can get, right? And guess what's going to happen? Your automobile policy is going to say, yes, we insured you for $1 million liability, yes, the judgment has come down for $25 million. Hey, but our limit is $1 million. We pay the $1 million, right? And they are out of the picture. Okay? Guess what they're going to do now? Next, they're going to come after you. Okay? They're going to come after you for everything you've got. Okay? It's just very clinical. It's just, right? Hey, our guy is maimed for life. He could have earned $25 million. Money's got to come from somewhere. So they're going to come after everything you have. Okay? And if you don't have guardrails around your assets, if your assets are not protected, they're going to come to it. In this account here, this is why I call it a war chest, okay? And when you go to war, you learn to protect things, okay? This is a war chest. They can't get to it. The only time they can get to it is if they can prove fraud, okay? Sometimes people, when they're just about to get into financial trouble, they try to rearrange their affairs, okay? And if they can show the trail that this was done just prior to this, okay? But if it was done in the natural course of things, done years ago, no way. For them to prove, and in the court cases, very few cases where they were able to prove fraud, and it was intentionally done. Okay, they were at the brink of financial disaster, and they rearranged their affairs to hide assets, and they can show the paper trail. But other than that, they can't touch you. So I just wanted to sensitize you to this. Okay, that even if you get to step number 9, okay, there is a danger. There's a reason to be creditor-proof. Okay, and here's one way that you do this. The last one is probate-free. Probate means this, that here in Canada, and I can't speak for other jurisdictions, I'm familiar with Canada and North America. When you die, and one of the things that one of the next sessions, further sessions that we'll be talking about is estate planning, okay, where we're going to teach you how to set up a will and a power of attorney and a living will, okay, so that to arrange your affairs just in case you die. And in having a will, every level of government wants their pound of flesh. They want to tax you. There's something called probate, which is really a municipal tax. Roughly, you can figure about 1 to 2% of your net estate value. Okay, so if I die tomorrow, and my estate consists of my home, any real estate property that I have, any RSPs that I have, okay, life insurance that I have. Okay, if all of that goes into my estate and it's worth $1 million, okay, 10% of that is 100,000, 1% of that is $10,000, so 1 to 2% will be about $15,000. Goes to probate fees. Okay, it's just another chunk of money flowing out. Okay, and the estate cannot be settled until, it's a rubber stamping basically. You're taking your will, you're saying, please probate the will, and then for that they want 1 to 2%. Go figure. Okay, but there's a way to avoid it if it doesn't go into the estate. Okay, in this account, this is probate free. It does not go into the estate. Okay, this flows outside of the estate. You follow? And so we avoid that. And the last thing that's not here, and that's relevant when you hang up your shoes, is a stream of income. Okay, this account also serves through what I call insured retirement program, where you are able to take this money out tax-free. Okay, and there's a way that we do this, where you are taking a stream of income out of this, from this war chest, to supplement your other sources of income. Chances are you might have government pensions, you might have other sources of income, and if that's not enough, or if you do need lump sum monies or even an additional stream of income, we can structure this. How many of you are familiar with Integrity Magazine? Integrity Magazine? In the latest issue of Integrity Magazine, I have an article in there. Okay, it's geared towards Christian business people, and I have an article in there called The 7 Steps to Financial Freedom. And it's, like I said, the audience are Christian business people. And one of the things I'm telling them to do there as a businessman is to use the corporate insured retirement program, which is exactly this, okay? Where you're going to put monies aside, safeguard it, credit approved, probate free and everything, and then use it as part of your pension, as part of your retirement plan to supplement your income when you decide to hang up your shoes, okay? All right, so all of that, see, it's explained like this, okay? It's all of these things. So if you go and tell your banker, I want you to do all of these things, okay? It has to be insured, has to be guaranteed, has to be tax-free, has to be credit approved, has to be probate-free. What do you think your banker is going to say? Yeah, it's probably that, okay? They're going to shoo you out of the office. They can't do it, okay? And yet, what I'm talking about here is permanent life insurance. I don't care what the label is. I'm concerned with the results, right? So in our GPS process, where we, let's just go back there. In the GPS process, okay, when you've done all the hard work, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go, once you finish this step here, once you build your 6-month emergency fund, right, when we come to step number 9, right, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to your insurance which you maxed out. We might have done this here, okay? We may or may not. It's very fluid depending on your situation, okay? Here, our focus was, when it came to the insurance, was strictly quantity, not quality, because we didn't have the cash flow yet, right? Here, it could be quantity and quality, but definitely quantity, and if possible, if the cash flow allows it, quantity, because we want to lock you in at that age, all right? But definitely here, okay, we're going to take these insurances that we have set up, particularly the life insurance and the critical illness insurance, and even this one, which is probably term insurance. We bought it on a term basis with a specific term, and we're going to convert it into permanent insurance. 2 things happen here, okay, when we convert it to permanent insurance. One is your insurability is guaranteed. Remember I said, the GPS process, by the time you get to step number 9, it could take anywhere from 6 months to 10 years, depending on your situation, and particularly depending on step number 4, how deep in debt you are, how long, that's the one that can tie you up, okay? And that process, from the time you do step number 2 to the time you get to step number 9, could be 6 to 10 years. And this is why the remaining staying focused is very important, because, there are some people who've come, who've gone, I've met them, and they've just lost their way, okay? You got to stay plugged in, and if you stay plugged in, then you'll do it, okay? It's okay to fall off your band, the wagon, just hop back on and, keep trucking, all right? Now, when we've done this here, when we do the conversion, first of all, you have protected your insurability, because in 6 months to 10 years, a lot of things change, okay? One of the things that happen is you get older, okay? And the older you get, the more insurance costs. Right? Number 1, that we cannot help. Because when we do the conversion, it's done at your attained age, okay? But more important than that, and the money is not the issue because we've got the money to do it, okay? We've got the cash flow to do it. But the second one is the one that's more important because it's your insurability, okay? Because when you buy term insurance here in step number 2, right, what you've also done is you've guaranteed your insurability, okay? So when we come to them, whether 6 months or 10 years, and we say we want to convert, they cannot say no to us. Even if I got cancer, even if whatever I developed medically, okay, I have a built-in right to convert at my attained age, okay? And they're stuck. They can't do it. What they are hoping and what the masses are doing is they're buying term insurance here, hoping that life will be, paint a rosy picture for life. Everything is going to go well, okay? And they come later on in life not having the investments, okay? And now they have to give up the insurance because it's too expensive, and they just can't afford it. If you buy a 10-year term policy, life policy, right? 10 years from now, you're 10 years older. You're going to pay the age of a 10-year person older. And then going to renew it another 10 years, and somewhere between ages 65 to 75, depending on the company, they terminate it. Now that we're just about to pay, we're not paying. That's their game, okay? You need to know how to turn it around and win at this game, okay? You can't do it on your own. This is why you need somebody like me who will come in objectively and tell you what the real facts are, okay? Go ahead.
So you guarantee your right to convert to permanent life insurance.
Absolutely.
But the older you get, the more expensive
More
it is to
expensive.
convert.
Right, yes. So this is why it's a balancing thing. We do, depending on the cash flow, okay, when I sit down with someone, when we do, if at all possible, we'll try to do it in step number 2. If not possible, we'll wait until step number 4 is clear, and we have the cash flow to do it. We do it in step number 5. If that's not possible, we do the best that we can. But by the time we get to step number 9, we should be able to ready to do it.
So if you convert when you're young, are you locked into that rate forever?
Forever.
So it's not like 10 years and then you got to renew
No,
at a higher rate?
no. This is why the best way to do it, earlier better, because then not only better because if I meet you in your 20s and your 30s, and I love it when I meet people in their 20s and their 30s, because there's not too much damage done yet. Okay, met somebody recently, and he sat down with me at a luncheon, and he said somebody referred me to you. I went to your website, I read it, and I said to him, and he said, I'm busy and I can't do this. Then he says to me, I said to him, you got to walk, and then you got to crawl, walk, run before you fly off a cliff. He's just ready to go. He said, I'm ready to invest. I'm ready to invest. So I said, look, before you invest, right? I said, just got married. I'm ready to invest. I said, before you invest, there are steps to follow. Okay? Before you go off a cliff, before you fly off a cliff, we need to walk, crawl, run, and then we'll go and attack the cliff. Okay? Because most people try to just go run off the cliff and then they're free floating out there. All right? So the reason why I say that is this fellow doesn't have emergency funds yet. Okay? He wants to go into investments, and there's a lot of people there. Once, another session, I gave a guy a book called The Wealthy Barber. He read it. He got so excited. Calls me up and said, can't wait to go, can't wait to go. But whoa, back up a little. We're not going to go there first, right? We're going to get there. We're going to do investments in style with our eyes wide open, okay, and asking the right question. We're never going to take our money and give it to somebody and have them turn around and tell them they've lost it. Okay? We'll take responsibility for our money. All right? Does it answer your question? Yeah. So it's locked in. You're locked in at the age that you come in. And also, when you convert, you're locked in at that age, okay? But the built-in right is very powerful, okay? Because, people, when someone gets cancer, gets a heart attack, gets a stroke, you think they were planning to have this? In our session of disability, on disability and critical illness, one of the exercises I do is I list 3 columns: name, disease, and how they're related to you. Ask the audience to name somebody who got something, okay? Then when all is done, we put up a bunch of names, then ask the question, here's the question. Did any of these people plan to get this? And you see, a host of ages up there. People who got cancer, heart attack, stroke, and whatnot. Go ahead.
But is it wise for a married couple for both people to have life insurance, or should only one have?
Both. Why? Because the functions that I'm assuming one of them is a homemaker. Is it? Yeah. If one of them is a homemaker, the assumption usually is that the homemaker, it's not earning an income, and so it's not Testing, testing. Okay. The homemaker is not a wage earner, and there's no relevance to that. But no, that's not true, because all the functions that the homeowner fulfills, okay, if the other one is stuck with it, somebody has to replace that. It's going to cost money. So no, yes, we suggest that. And in fine tuning, okay, when I sit down with people, and if it's a couple situation, we get both of them to do the life insurance, and I'll tell you why. Because like I said, our you know, like I meet people. Okay, my job, my mandate, is to clarify their financial situation. Okay, because this is the least most important thing. I know that. Okay, and I'm a servant of the Lord. Okay, and He wants me to do this, so I'm going to do this. And He wants me to take our people, Christians, and clarify this for them, because it seems that it's murky for a lot of Christians. Okay, and it's because of the input that they're getting from who's around them. Because if this is clear, right, then they can go and do all the other things. Okay, the other things become easier to do. You follow? And so one of the things why I want the couples to both be insured there is, if something happens, this whole process is accelerated. Okay, let me explain what I'm saying here. We have a couple here. We come here and we do $1 million of life insurance on each one of them. Okay, and they're in their 30s, let's say, right? As soon as, if you know something happens and one of the spouses goes, accident, illness, or otherwise, right? This whole process is accelerated. You know why it's accelerated? Because let's say the husband goes, and I'm sitting with the wife who's a homemaker. $1 million has just come in. Okay, if you don't buy into this process, and I see this continually, okay, as soon as you have $1 million check coming in, right, everybody comes out of the woodwork to advise you, to tell you how that money is to be used. You know what I'm saying? But if you buy into this plan, you won't, because you've already got a plan. This is what I'm saying. Make this your financial plan. Okay. If I take that couple there, 35 years old, and let's say 5 years later something happens, and she comes into the $1 million, right? Guess what we're going to do? We've already got a plan in place. Okay. What we're going to do is accelerate all of this. You follow? Immediately move into this, take her policy, convert it into a life policy, dump the $1 million in there, okay, and she's living off it. Nothing else to do. And then she can decide if she wants to do these things. Okay? Because if you're in your 30s, you still got a long ways to go. Okay? You can leave your money in there earning 3.25%, or you can learn how to do this, okay, and do this, and make it even grow. Because if you get, and what we want to do, just another point here is that when we do this, we don't leave them there to lose it in the market. You follow? As soon as we make 15%, we dump it back in there. Okay? The whole thing is to get to step number 9, where this war chest is $10 million. Okay? So go imagine, if you have a war chest that is $10 million, and you're getting 3.25% tax-free, that's $325,000 a year tax-free. Can you live on that? Sure you can. Okay? Most of us, $4,000 or $5,000 a month is pretty comfortable, tax-free. Okay? Now, if your head and your heart is not in the right place, you're going to buy bigger toys, upgrade your toys, That's because you're building treasures here. And that's the other mental shift that we're going to do. Okay? At the end, is making that mental shift that, this is not what we're about. Okay? We're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to be good stewards of our money, right? And be good testimony out there. But it's not ours. And it's all, to be converted to eternal treasures before we go. All right? Does that make sense to you? Okay? So here, what I'm saying is, this is life insurance, and most people don't understand it. Accountants, okay? If I go and sit down in front of an accountant and I say, I have $1 million to invest, what's the best place to invest? They won't come up with this. They'll tell you, like the other 7 investment advisors, the conventional wisdom out there is mutual funds, stocks, exchange-traded funds, index funds, all of that, okay? All of that is here, right? But even here, what we're doing is something very specialized. Next session, if you look at your yellow sheet of paper, in action step number 6 is to read Phil Townsend's rule number 1, investing. In preparation for the next session, which is a stock market investing, most libraries have that book. If you don't have it, You can go to Value Village or go to used bookstores, get hold of that book and read it, okay, in preparation for the next session. Then my job becomes easier if you've already gone through the book once or twice, okay? But that's the strategy that we use. They say that if you want to be careful, you measure twice and you cut once, okay? So this is what we do even with that. We are being very careful. The school of thought that we are following is the one that's espoused by the richest man in the world, Warren Buffett. Okay, Warren Buffett's a very happy, funny guy. Now, if I had $60 billion, I'd be quite happy too. But he's really a funny guy. And whenever you ask him questions, he's just happy guy. He'll answer in very folklorish answers, So you ask him, what's your strategy, right? He'll say something like this. Oh, I just buy wonderful companies at attractive prices. And that's what he does. Wonderful companies at attractive prices. Phil Townsend took those phrases, okay? Because Warren Buffett, since 1977, he writes what's called his chairman letters. If you go to his website, berkshirehathaway.com, every spring he writes out like a report, basically. Gives out all his financial statements, and then he has like an executive summary where for about 5, 6, 7 pages he gives his thoughts, his wisdom. And Phil Townsend went into one of his letters, and this is what he read, okay? I buy attractive companies, wonderful companies at attractive prices. So he wrote a whole book based on that, okay? What are wonderful companies? What are attractive prices? And he sort of, because Warren Buffett won't tell you, okay? He'll just, say this and that, gives out pearls of wisdom, but he won't tell you exactly what is naturally so, right? But makes a lot of sense, and it's very careful strategy to buy wonderful companies at attractive price. What's wonderful? What's attractive? That's the strategy. Okay, so we're going to learn. And if you're so inclined, then you're going to do paper trading for 1 year. You're going to open an account, do paper trading for 1 year. Until you're successful in paper trading, then you're going to do it with real money. Okay? You're going to tread very carefully. And all this time, our money is sitting there. It's going nowhere. It's doing fine. You follow? Before you take a penny out of your war chest, the questions you need to ask. Okay? Is my money guaranteed? Is my return guaranteed? Is it insured? Is it tax-free? Is it credit-approved? Is it probate-free? If any of the answers are no, sorry, no thank you. Why should I? I'm doing better here. Okay? And if they tell you, oh, but the return is much more, but it's not guaranteed. I can get, anybody can give you a higher return, but if they can't guarantee it, what's the point? Right? This is guaranteed here. All right? So with that, we come to the end of today's session, I believe. Unless I have something else to cover. Are there any questions on either the GPS process or on the war chest? Right, the war chest.
Yeah, war chest, right? So you do it like every month, or or you do it like lump sum once a year.
Yeah, the war chest. Once you've got a permanent life insurance policy, you've got a term policy. You've converted to a permanent life insurance policy. It's your account. Okay, you've got a policy number, and usually what we try to do is lump sums, okay? There's a minimum amount that goes towards the whole thing, okay? That's the cost of insurance, but that's minimal, right? And beyond that, you can dump in as much as you want, okay? I'll give you an example. I had one client many years ago. We took about $1.5 million and dumped it in one shot, okay? Because when I got to the client, they were paying a lot in GIC. Most of that money was in GICs, right? And not earning much, 2, 3, people don't risk their money when they're at, advanced stage in life. Put it in GICs, but still, it was causing a dent because there were T5s coming in left, right, and center. Okay, this was all exposed. So my thing to them was, look, why don't you take that money and move it into a life insurance policy, right? And that's what they did. We moved $1.5 million into the life policy in one shot. But most of us, what we were doing is, we'll be buying, let's say, if I take a 49-year-old, okay, $1 million policy, is a term to $100 million policy is about $10,000 a year. That's like $800 a month. So we set up the policy with $800 a month, and that gives us the insurance part, okay? But what it does is, in that policy, there's an accumulation fund, okay? And the government allows you, although your minimum payment is $10,000 to keep the policy open, right? It allows you to put anywhere from 10 to 25 times that amount of money into the account, okay? So for this particular client, what happened was when we took the $1.5 million and we shoved it in, all of it could not go into the accumulation fund because the government is aware of what we're doing here, okay? You know why? They know that if you put your money out in the GIC, you have to pay tax. They get revenue. If you move it in here, it's sheltered. They don't get revenue. So what they did was they put a cap, okay, on how much you can put in, okay? So if you're doing it in a normal course of things, you set up your insurance policy, term policy, convert it first, and as you have extra money, just send the company a check. You could increase your monthly payments if you wanted to. If like the guy who has $1,000 now available in step number 9, he goes to an insurance company and says, look, convert my policy. I used to pay $100 a month. Convert it to permanent. Now it's going to cost, let's say, $250 for the permanent insurance, but it gives me extra room to put more money and just bring my payments up to $1,000. So, okay, and in every month, what happens is $250 goes towards the insurance, the $750 goes into the it's accumulating, earning 3.25%. Does that answer your question? Good. Any other questions?
Are you suggesting that you actually start with a term and then convert, or can you not start with a permanent?
You can. Most people start with a term because their cash flow doesn't allow them to buy permanent. Oh, good. And it's good. And for young people, I suggest that. In fact, not only a permanent, but a 20-year permanent, and at the end of 20 years, it's paid up. Okay? It's a non-issue. We've got the shell. You follow? And then beyond that, everything that you put in goes strictly towards investments. Okay? Any other questions? Will be? No? Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, in the very beginning, you said there were other Christian financial advisors that were giving advice on getting money.
Yes.
Do you have an example?
Sure. Dave Ramsey is one of them. Dave Ramsey in the U.S., I mean, I like what he does right up till the debt part, but when it comes to insurance and investments, I really think he's way out of his depth. Okay? He was a realtor, and I know he means well, but you know, when he doesn't believe in permanent life insurance. And this is what I'm saying. He can't see it. He suggests term. The problem with term is, like I said, people have very good intentions, but life doesn't always happen the way we intend for it to happen. And we get there at an advanced age in life. We have neither the investments. Now we have to give up the insurance. So we're neither here nor there. Okay? And the other thing about term insurance is you're 30 days away from it being canceled. Okay? If you're not building investment, if you don't structure it as an investment, if you go buy a term insurance policy for $1 million and you pay $800 a month, right? You could be paying for 20 years. Okay? You miss 1 month, 30 days later it's gone. Okay? So where's your security? Well, what we're suggesting is, look, dump in as much money in there as a standby, okay, while we look for other opportunities. And as a standby, we will never lose our insurance because there's enough cash reserves there to support the insurance, even if there's disruptions in cash flow. Follow?
Interesting is what I've heard recently has been to convert to the term. Now it's actually considering to do that.
That's right.
Interesting to hear you.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a perspective, and you know, it's got to make sense first, right? And when people say that, it's because that's what they're being told to say. And they did, you know, I did that for 23 years. You buy into the conventional wisdom, and what I found is they are driving it because they want to drive things in a certain way. It's like the government when they come up with certain incentives or whatnot. It's because they want to steer you in a certain direction. Okay? I'm very hesitant when they say things to me now. Okay, my question is, where's your angle? You know. Any other questions? No? If there are no questions, I want to thank you for being here. I commend you for being here. I know you had choices with your time. It's summertime, the living is good. You could have been at the beach, at the cabin with your friends, but you chose to be here, okay? And I want to commend you because, you know, it shows, it tells me a lot about you, okay? I don't know what attracted you to come here, but you are here. The only thing I can tell you is do commit to the GPS process, okay? And somebody brought this up earlier, maybe it's not clear. I am available to you on a one-to-one basis at no charge, okay? Because if you need to take this and implement it, what you need to do is get in touch with me, okay? And we'll find a mutually convenient time where I can book you in, all right? And I'll sit down with you on a strictly confidential basis, look at your situation, and move you along the GPS process, right? But what I need on your part is to commit to the process, okay? Commit to the process, and if I ever get to sit down with you, I'll make you sign a covenant agreement. Okay? Covenant agreement, like I said, that was simple. Even in the Christian, one of the things that I'm doing with Christian businesses is converting the business into a kingdom business. If you read the article in Integrity, that's what I'm alluding to, okay? Where we are converting the business as a separate entity into a kingdom business, which has the same vision as the Lord Jesus Christ, which is to bring all men to a knowledge of the truth, right? So thank you very much for coming out, and I look forward to seeing you in 90 days in October. Thank you.